fabulous talk for you guys today. You take a week off, you can't help but like fill yourself up when you're off doing something else. So today I want to share with you about Prosperity's 10 Commandments. You should have received a green sheet. And you can jot some notes to anything that speaks to you. That's why I gave it to you early. So don't read ahead. Yeah. All right. So as you can see there, the 10 Commandments are known as cardinal laws for human society. In Latin, the root word for cardinal is cardo, meaning hinge, like door hinge. And the cardinal laws are those on which other laws are hinged upon. So these are fundamental laws because they are the basis or foundation for all things upon which principles of right action may be built. Okay? So the 10 Commandments, the ones that you're familiar with, are the ones of Moses. You've all heard of those, I'm sure. So these commandments were created to guide people into expressing their lives in right action. When Moses delivered the 10 Commandments to the children of Israel, he furnished what he believed to be an unruly group of citizens with rules for moral and right behavior. We're still working on that moral and right behavior from my observation. But you know what? He was trying to teach his people how to be in relationship with not only God, but with each other. And so the first of the 4 commandments are about our relationship to God. The next 6 are about our relationship to humanity. It's a universal guideline of truth. And in a universal guideline of truth, truth is truth. And it works for many types of applications, as we're going to explore today. It all comes down to principle. In unity, we know that our principles clearly state that we are one with God and one another. Knowing our unity principles and living with them allows us to follow the 10 Commandments as an outline for recommended moral ethics and behavior. It's really an outline from my perspective of love and compassion to one another. It's like the pie filling, you know, and it holds all the goodness of the fruit or creamy filling. You know, the 5 principles and the 10 Commandments work together. It's a partnership. So each commandment is an embodiment of truth. The application can be adapted to meet any situation. So we're going to take these 10 Commandments based on a Unity book and look at how they can be applied to our financial abundance. You ready?
Yes. Let's do it.
Good answer. All right. So, thou shalt look to no other source but God for thy supply. So we all know that God is the source of our supply and that your employer is just a channel for your supply to move through. It's not the end-all supply. When we acknowledge that there is no other life source than the Creator, and all things come from the Creator through various channels, we can see that our faith is ruling our manifestation. So the first step in manifesting supply is to create faith in the omnipotent spiritual presence of the source of all that is. I've been talking a lot about divine substance. This is the golden nugget of divine substance. Remembering that in the beginning, God created all. So thou shalt make no mental images of lack. Thank you. So the history of poverty in the human race can be directly traced back to a lack of faith in God as that source of supply. It's the flip side of the coin. If we have faith, we know that God is the source. When we bury the faith, we have something else revealed, and we're not really sure where our source comes from. So God is like pay on demand. You know, we all have pay on demand on our cable stations, and when you pay on demand, you get the movie that you're wanting. When you pay God on demand with faith, you get the manifestation of the life that you desire. Makes sense? Thou shalt not speak the word of lack or limitation. When we talk of poverty, we are affirming a falsehood, namely that there is an absence of the presence of God. We all know that Unity Principle number 1 says there's only one power, one presence, God the good. It's right there on the wall. God the good, omnipotent. It's good to read the writing on the wall from time to time. You never know what wisdom will be revealed to you. So when we talk of poverty, we are affirming that God is not present. And we all know that there's no spot that God is not. Affirm that with me. There's no spot that God is not. So life is like an echo. It returns to us what we shout out. If we put out the idea of abundance and well-being, we'll get abundance and well-being. If we put out the idea of lack and limitation, what are we going to get? Ooh. No, thank you, Jim. Here's another one. Thou shalt let go and let God do it. In every demonstration, there must be periods of resting, times to cease outer activity. When we engage in inner activity of reliance on spirit and on the operation of natural laws, we come into the ebb and flow. In the first week of the universe, God created the days, 6 days, and then he what? Rested. Yeah. He didn't go shopping on Sunday. He rested. It's a great story. Jesus showed us by example that he went apart to pray. I won't ask for a show of hands of how many of you are going apart to pray, but I want to encourage you to recognize that taking time in prayer to fill yourself up with the awareness of spirit allows you to have those busy times of activity and enjoy the process. So he actually modeled a perfect model for us. It's pray, work, rest, repeat. Pray, work, rest, repeat. Well done. Our, humankind's, major difficulty in manifesting our dreams is in the personal self. That willfulness that we all have, I'm not the only one, that insists on doing God's part. Who here insists on doing God's part? I knew I was not alone. Okay, so we need to learn that our part is acknowledging God's presence and accepting God's good that we desire and doing whatever is logical to receive that good and to keep it flowing in our lives. And here's the tricky part. And then we need to let go and allow God, universal life force, the time to process the information, move all the puzzle pieces around the universe, and voila, give you your desire. Did you like the voila part? Okay, it takes too long. I know, I'm so impatient too. We have to allow God that opportunity. We have to allow nature to do its course. I'm a gardener. I love planting my seeds and watching those little buds and pulling out the weeds and nurturing my plants and But it takes a long time from seed to sprout to plant to blossom to tomato, doesn't it? Yeah. To yummy tomato. Yes. But you have to allow God's time. So therefore, in allowing God's time, we have to learn to allow and let it go, let it go, let it go. You know, it's sort of like a baton race. It's track season coming up soon, and you'll see the kids running, and during the track event, there's usually a team, baton pass team. And when that kid goes to his teammate and hands off the baton and gives that other runner the chance to run, his job is to just breathe. He's done his part, he lets it go, and he just breathes. And in his mind, he is blessing that next runner. That's our job. You have handed off the baton. Your job is to now breathe. Thou shalt deal honorably with God and with all human instruments, through whom God's good is manifested for you. Dealing honorably with others means being just and honest. It implies courtesy and a level of cooperation. All of that is in practice. There's an agreement in that cooperative process to allow things to come back to balance. In relation to God, this is a law of circulation. We are gratefully receiving what is ours to receive, and we must also give to the divine. We accept that the law of the universe is working on our behalf, and when the demonstration is good and complete, the equal exchange of energy is returned. In Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9, it states, "Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of all your produce." So rightly understood, this is the beginning idea of tithing. Tithing is really just an outer expression of the threefold nature of worship: prayer, praise, and giving. In Unity, we express it as time, talent, and treasure. You've heard those words. So when we look to God as a reservoir from which the continuous stream of flow comes, we no longer put dependence on what's in our pocket, what's in our bank account, and what's in the savings. We trust that the flow is flowing. Isn't it the river's job to flow? Yeah, it's us that blocks the flow. I won't ask for a show of hands.
I've built a lot of dams in my time.
Yes. So we must look to the constant flow for our good and work to keep the channel open. What is the channel? The channel is our ever-present flow of divine ideas provided to us by Spirit. So, thou shalt not take thy wealth out of circulation. In our own offering blessing, we refer to circulation, recognizing that there is this continuous flow of divine substance regarding our financial resources. When we cease to circulate, stagnation is born. Stagnation is the starting point of all disintegration. Lack of circulation is the starting point of stagnation. Stagnation is death. Circulation is life. It is said that our richness should circulate through our lives as air does through our lungs. Let's breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Doesn't that feel good? We know that no good circulation can take place unless there's an even flow in the balance of inhalation and exhalation. It is exactly the same, ever flowing, not stopping. Even while you sleep, the law of circulation is at work for you. Inflow equals outflow. That's what I was taught in marketing. Riches are a state of mind, and we have the ability to kill our ideals by our thoughts. When we think of fear and doubt or letting negative influences take hold on us, there is a belief in lack of supply. Fear is the belief. A person of faith knows that God is the source of all substance and uses their money freely and joyously, knowing that the intelligent use of it guarantees the honoring of the law of circulation. Notice I said intelligently. Thou shalt not abase thy wealth to idle or evil uses. This has to do with purity. Like all essential truth, the idea of purity must be served on the inner as well as the outer. It applies not only to physical action, but mental action. We metaphysicians are surrounded by the recognition of our thoughts. It is our mental impurity or mental purity that creates our outer picture of the world. It is an idea. Just like money is an idea of outer spiritual substance, like all forms of our thought, we attach those thoughts to our ideas and our representations. So the ideas that we attach to money animate in an expression of power or lack. It is our idea that we attach to it that is more powerful than the symbol, money as a symbol itself. Jesus knew that the wealth is everyone's divine heritage. He knew that God is the source of all wealth, and when we recognize God's responsibility is the ownership of supply and our responsibility is the stewardship of supply and conduct ourselves accordingly, wealth can overflow with spiritual blessings. That is the vision I'm holding for Unity of Fresno.
Right.
God is in charge of the ownership, we are in charge of the stewardship, and when we conduct ourselves accordingly, we are in divine flow. Thou shalt not seek something for nothing. In an essay entitled Compensation, Emerson wrote, "Stealing is the endeavor to get something for nothing. Under the law of compensation, this is impossible. Life functioning under the law of mind demands that we pay for what we get. And correspondingly, it is also true that we get what we pay for. Is that not true?" Emerson went on to say that in labor, as in life, there can be no cheating. The thief steals from himself. The swindler swindles himself. So under the law of compensation, every day is a day of judgment in which the balance of giving and receiving comes into balance or imbalance. Balance or imbalance.
I like that. Means it's not bad to strive for that. It's just a waste of time because it doesn't work. Love it.
Exactly. So no matter where our situation, what our level of balance or imbalance, we can always strive to return to balance in divine law. So no matter how little it may be at any given time, we can always give in proportion to what we have to receive. Thou shalt not bear false witness against the source of thy wealth. The evidence here is that this is a law of truthfulness. Pride, exaggeration, insinuation, all are forms of conveying false impressions. Even listening to gossip is bearing false witness, because what that means is you are choosing to be receptive to false things and possibly perpetuating them. You know how gossip just seems to grow on its own. Stating that our neighbor is ill and discussing their symptoms is also bearing false witness against the truth of the Christ's presence within each one of us and within them. The essence of you is 100% healthy and well, safe and loved, abundant and pure. Affirming to others that someone is poor or unsuccessful or involved in debt or disaster of any kind is bearing false witness against God's truth and presence in the situation. With true understanding, we learn to keep balance with the seen and the unseen. That's what our life experience is all about, trying to find the balance of the physical, tangible with the balance of the invisible, the spiritual realm. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Sometimes it's awesome, and other times, well, not so much. But it's coming to find that balance every single moment, every single day. And remembering that God is the source of all supply. Regardless of the appearances, we can always tell the truth about universal life force, divine law. Thou shalt not limit thyself by coveting that which is another's. Thou shalt claim thy own. Key. Thou shalt claim thy own. An understanding truth student will see that our behavior begins with our thoughts, and it is covetous mental thoughts that create the covetous behaviors in society. When we covet, we limit ourselves because of our false belief that God cannot supply. Totally in opposition to truth. God is the source of all. He is the unlimited reservoir. The universe, it's the pleasure of the universe to provide all that you think about. What are you thinking about? Every covetous thought is a fundamental belief that there may not be enough to go around. Affirm the blessings you desire for yourself. Place your faith in God as the source of all life, as the source of all prosperity, and rejoice in the good of others. Because if they have abundance and well-being in their lives, so can you. So like the activities of mathematics, God is a fulfilling principle as demonstrated through Prosperity's 10 commandments, not 5 principles. They're a practical tool to apply ancient wisdom to yet another area of our life experience. In every area of our life, we are rooted firmly in truth. Truth is happening around you, whether you are aware or not. So it's wise to learn the laws of the universe and putting them to work in the way that you desire for them to express in your life. When we see appearances of lack or limitation, declare that these appearances are not God's good will for you, and that they have no place in your life. Recognize them for what they are, mistakes made in working out the problem of supply. When you learn mathematics as a youth, you have a big eraser. It doesn't always work out the best way the first time. I balance the checkbook. It doesn't always work out the best down to the penny the first time. But I'm possessed and I have my big pink marker or eraser, and I work at coming to be in alignment with the principle of mathematics in the law. You love that? I do have a big pink eraser.
Make it work the way.
So recognize those situations for what they are. They are mistakes in working out the principle that is underneath the problem of supply. And that our mistakes are caused by ignorance or blindness to the proper working of the law. And in every situation, principle exists. And so in order to get to the right answer, return to principle. Namaste.